I saved up all my loose change for nearly 12 years, just putting them in a big jar. And I've decided now to cash them out at the bank in this beautiful change machine. How much money will I get? And most importantly, how much gold would I have been able to get with the money that I had at the start? And how much gold would I get today? The answer is a very stark difference. Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here. Welcome to another Precious Metal Ramble. So, as you've seen in the intro, I've got a lot of coins and I'm about to go to the bank and get them all changed up into, I say real money, because pounds and pennies and pence in fiat form isn't, I think, real money for a lot of people's definition, but money that is a bit more practical and perhaps even money that's going to end up in a bank account rather than just sitting in a box being worthless. But I thought it would make an interesting video. So, are you ready? I'm going to pour all of this and watch a 10p lovelily jump off the table. Here we go. All right, that is one monster box of coinage. I'm going to move the gold out of the way such that we don't lose it. That would be very bad. And then we have a second. A second monster box, there we go. Okay, so big pile of coins, and this is like 10 years, 11 years, I want to say, of collecting my change, basically. And it's a big demonstration of the, I think, devaluation of currency and why a lot of people stack silver. I've in fact just seen here, it's been so long that the new pound coins have come in since then. We'll have to see if the bank takes that coin when we get in there. I'm going to put that into my pocket now so I don't forget it. But yes, how much coinage is here? Is it an ounce of gold? Is it a kilo of silver? Or are we looking at something a little bit more fractional? What is more interesting is that back when I started this, gosh, I think it was about 10 or 11 years ago. What are we in, 2024? Yeah, it would have probably been about 2012-13 when I started putting coins in a big jar. And the ironic thing is, if you'd of course bought an ounce of gold back then, you would be much better off than what I've done, which is put all these coins in. But then the argument is this is saved up over time of just not using the coins in, you know, every time I spent something, I got coins, I put them in this jar rather than use them. And it was a good way to save money. And I don't know how much is on the table here. We're about to find out when we go to the bank. Have a guess down in the comment section how much you think is in here. But I think it's a good idea of quite how devalued the currencies that we have are. So what I will do is we will be going to the bank. We will be chucking all of this into a coin machine. You saw a little clip of it, hopefully. I'm not really sure if I can get a clip of it in the bank. I'm going to try and get one, and then I'll see how much we've got, and I'm going to change it into real money in terms of banknotes, and then bring it back here. And we're going to do a little side-by-side comparison of how much gold and silver this much in loose change can actually buy you today. Have a guess down in the comment section. Is it going to be ounces of gold? Is it going to be tenths of gold? Is it a kilo of silver? Be interesting to see, because I don't even know quite how much is in here. I've got a good guess in my head, but I don't actually know. So have a guess down in the comment section, and I'll see you in the bank in just a moment. And I'm back from the bank, and it all went swimmingly well with the exception of silly old Muggins here, who forgot to bring his bank card and ID, which meant that I could only cash the coins in to pay into my account using my banking app, and then I had to come home, get my card, and go to a different branch to get the cash out again. But aside from that stupidity, it was all really easy and very simple. Big cash coin machine there, and in it goes, and you go up to the teller, and then you just get your money, supposedly. It goes into my account. I could have had the cash if I'd had my bank card and ID, but I didn't, so I had to go back and get it. And then when I went to get the cash out from another branch, there were no awkward questions, there were no awkward waits or reasons why I'm on to have this much cash coming out. I haven't told you how much it was yet. Can you have a guess? I'm kind of doing a bit of a count here for you. If you get it right, then let me know down in the comment section. But there was no awkward questions. I managed to get all my cash out easy peasy. I'll probably be putting it straight back in the bank in a couple of days' time anyway, because we don't need this much cash out, and it's just going to lose value over time, which is exactly the premise of this video. There has been a huge devaluation of currency over the last sort of 12 years that I started doing this, and I've got some gold and silver out here to kind of visualize it, because the whole premise of my video here was to originally say, I saved all my loose change for 12 years and this is how much gold and silver I could buy. And actually it's really not a lot at all. When you factor in that there was here, shall I do the grand reveal now? Have your final guesses in quickly before I actually show you what we have. So here was the breakdown. I wasn't allowed to keep the actual little receipt, but there is all the coins, 3,985 of them, with £1,437 and 10 British pennies in total value. So that was very interesting. There were some rejected coins. I put them back through the machine, and there were some foreigns that were fully rejected, and then there was one wonky 20p coin that was also rejected. So if we can get that to focus, I don't think it's going to focus, but anyway, you don't need to see a wonky 20p. Those are the only ones that weren't done. Also, another cool thing was that the old pound coin that I had in that jar, they changed it out for me. They just literally at the counter went, here, just have this, and they took the old pound coin. So fantastic. So £1,437 and 10 British pennies. How much is that worth in today's money in gold? Well, basically that. 3 sovereigns. 0.7 of an ounce of gold I make it. Now, 3 sovereigns is 0.68 in terms of raw value, but of course you pay a little bit of a premium on top. So basically 3 sovereigns at today's current spot price. Do you want to know the crazy thing? If I'd taken £1,437 and bought some gold instead of having all of that money just in a giant pile, I'd have that much gold. I'd have double. I'd have had twice as much in my bank account today. So lessons here are, currency devalues quite quickly over time. That's a 50% reduction in value over that time period, which is mad, absolutely mad. Now, in terms of silver, today's silver, it would have given me, as we can see here, oh, I've done the math, it's 54 ounces, a kilo and 22 ounces of Britannia's here. But again, if I had put that money into silver 10, 11 years ago, you can quite comfortably plonk another kilo down, and I probably should have got an entire representation of it, but probably another 20 odd ounces of actual silver. You know, if we just chuck in a couple of sovereigns there as well. So you can see just how very, very much our currency is devalued over time. Another representation would be 1,400 quids here. If you bought just a year ago, maybe not a year ago, maybe sort of about 2 years ago, there was a period where it was a drop, where gold price was around 1,400. So you get 1,400 quid, 1 ounce of gold. How much is an ounce of gold today? 2,100, and as I've just told you, 2,100 will get you 3 sovereigns. Maybe a 3 and a little bit right now. Crikey, that is a stark difference in a short period of time. So lessons learned here, and of course the other thing is the money that I've had just sitting in that jar has not earned a penny in interest because it's just cash, which is why, whilst a lot of you might not like the idea of fiat currency and you want to get cash, or money in a bank I should say, and you want to have fiat cash there because it's real and it's something you can use and spend, great, yes, but it's also going to just devalue over time. If I'd put that money in a bank account, I haven't done the exact maths on it, but assuming that over the 12 years that I was saving those coins, if you put in 1,400 quid, that's £110-ish a year, £120-ish a year, you would end up with probably around about £250 to £300 of extra in interest. So theoretically, if that had all been in a bank account, accruing a little bit of interest across the way, averaging out for some of the low period and the high period, you probably would have had about 1,600 quid's worth. So still not even where you were in comparison to buying lots of gold back in 2011, 12, 13, even 2 years ago, quite frankly. So we can really know that this stuff is devaluing. Look at that, King Charles on the £50 notes finally. He's here. For how long? I don't know. That's another question in its entirety for a different video. We'll maybe have another monarch at some point in the not too distant future as his health continues to be a question. So, the last question is, what am I going to do with this cash that I've had? So there are some positives from this. It's a cool way to save money. It's not a way I would recommend you save money because it, as I said, is just devaluing over time, and money does devalue over time. That's the whole point of inflation. And inflation is something that governments want to happen because it means that their debt is a lot less comparative. If you owe $1 trillion now, and then in 5 years' time, that $1 trillion is worth, or buys you half of that, you owe half of your debt. So it's a way that countries and governments are paying off their national debts. And it's one of the reasons why we will never see a complete collapse, in my humble opinion, of some of the big world reserve currencies. Maybe some point down the line, if there's an apocalyptic event or a world war, those kind of things can definitely happen. But from just an economic standpoint, where we are sitting here worried about national debts, that is going to be eroded away with inflation over time. And it becomes a sort of pseudo tax on us, the consumer, the person with the money who's using the money to buy things. And inflation is this pseudo tax. So do I want to see inflation? No, nobody wants to see higher rates of inflation. But national governments, national banks will target around 2% a year, which means when you cumulatively add it up, eventually your currency will be worth a lot less than it once was. And that's happened now, and it will continue to happen over the future. Those rates of inflation will vary from year to year. What we really want is deflation, but deflation comes with its own problems around growth and trying to stimulate economies, and it's not necessarily something governments want because, as I said, it means their debt will take more. So, interesting experiment that's been 10 plus years in the making, 12 years. I never set out, I started collecting those coins in that jar just because it was kind of cool. We had a giant, great big bell jar. And by the way, the reason you're not seeing the bell jar and the reason the coins were all there and the reason I'm cashing them out now is because I broke the bloody jar. It got too heavy and then the jar smashed, which is not what you want. So there were little shards of glass all over the place when that happened. So I thought, and Mrs. Backyard Bullion also said to me, come on, this is getting a bit silly now. Let's make sure we do it. And then from the logical standpoint in my mind as well, I was like, yeah, do you know what? It is time to cash out. And I didn't think there was 1,400 quid in there. So from a savings situation, that's kind of cool. I like that. I have seen on various different TikToks and social media and YouTube that there are these like coin and note wallets where if you sort of save £1 or like it's a penny day 1, 2p day 2, 3p and so on for a whole year, you'll end up with £10,000 or something. So yeah, but just do that in a different way because you're going to lose so much money if you just stick it in a jar or under your mattress. That's not a good thing to do. Save it up, buy some gold, put it in a savings account, get a little bit of interest on it. At least that somewhat counters the inflation on the short term. But long term, you can only but say from this experiment that gold and silver are much better. They really are. I haven't done the exact maths on what is the better, but I think gold is better over that long-term period, that 12-year period. We're certainly seeing huge, ridiculous changes. In fact, let me just have a look now because I'm working on the assumption of when I started buying gold, which was 2016. But if we look at the gold and we go 15-year chart, let's see what prices were like. So yeah, I started when gold was about £750 an ounce. Crikey, okay. So if I'd put £1,400 into, I've lost my ounce of gold, there it is. If I put £1,400 into gold in 2012 when I got started, I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, and let's call it a tenth here to add up the bit of difference. I'd have over 2 ounces of gold for my money, for this wodge of cash that you see here. And then compare that with today where you buy 3 sovereigns. That's how much money you've had taken away from you from inflation in real gold terms over that time period. That's crazy. That's mad. My goodness. When you put that in context, it makes me want to never put money in a bank account ever again. Look at that. That's what you would have had, right? there you go. Happy with that. 2 ounces of gold. Bingo, bango, bongo. Easy peasy, take it away. You've got 3 sovereigns left. Oh no, that's not good at all. Right, I know what I'm doing with my money. And it does maybe look like this money that I've got here will be used to purchase something shiny. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Still very difficult to know where gold is, and it's still seemingly continue to rise. So you could argue now is the time to buy. Well, if I get something come in, I might pull that trigger now that I've found 1,400 quid's worth. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on this whole little situation and experiment. If you've got a jar of coins lying around, perhaps now's the time to get rid of it and cash it out. Maybe you want to have something that's actually real and physical and enjoy them. And to be fair, they were a cool ornament, but when you count up the fact that it's £1,000 and you could have had an extra £2,000-3,000 from the earnings you could have had on something else, yeah, I'm fine. I'll just pretend that it's, I mean, I could refill a jar with penny coins and that would be much better. How many pennies did I even have in there? We need something for the Rambling Society members to have a fun little comment on. So in here we had £5.69 in 1p coins. So if I had a whole jar of 1p coins, 3,985, that would have been £39.85. That's more of a stomached kind of jar of coins cost, you know, a nice object on your side table compared with £1,400. God, why did I do this? Anyway, Cool Kids Club members, quote for me the 569 in £5.69 1p coins. That would be fantastic. Otherwise, let me know your thoughts. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, then make sure you do, because we do this kind of cool content on a fairly regular basis, 2-3 times a week sometimes. So let's see you on the next one. Otherwise, that's it from me. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you on the next video. As always, please make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.